What's up, guys? Finally got a decent day out here to be able to get the buggy outside and show you what I've been doing. Over the last month I've been working on body panels, of course, getting rid of all the white panels that were on it, trying to replace a lot of it with new stuff. I got a small list here of stuff I want to go over and just to be able to show you where we're at and what we got going on. First thing, I made a video a couple months ago about the power steering issues that we were having. I wanted to kind of go over that. I did get it straightened out. My biggest problem was just my stupidity. I had taken the power steering motor and had it mounted up top in here and actually had it flipped around backwards, and to come to find out, the motor has sensors in it that won't let it turn the other way. Basically, when mounted right, if you were to hit a big bump with the wheels, it does that to keep it from ripping the steering wheel out of your hand. So it is a good deal to have. It needed to be mounted right and worked like a dream. Of course, we're going to make a grill for the front of it to be able to get some air through. I've got a Chevy emblem in there and some different ideas, even some pieces of stainless I'd like to cut out and actually make a grill surround and try to make something decent. You can see the hood scoop that I mounted on there. Another thing, I'd want some feedback from you guys. Tell me what you think, what you like, what you don't like, the color of it. I don't care, the good, the bad, the ugly. Just let me know what you guys think. I'd love some feedback. I'd love to hear some comments. Let's see. Sprocket. I originally went, it's got a 55 rear on it. I think I went up 10 teeth on the rear sprocket. But of course, with a big rear sprocket, you're going to run into ground clearance issues. So now I'm going to drop 2 teeth on the front just to try to get it geared where we want it. It works good out on an open road a little bit, but it's a little high for being here where I live. I don't have a whole lot of big open fields and shit to be able to run it. So I want to get it geared down to where you can use the power a little bit better, and it's never going to need to see 100 mile an hour, so I'd rather be able to use the power from it. The steering, back to the steering, the rack and pinion that I have on it is a Pinto rack, I believe. It's not very quick ratio. It's actually, I think, 3.5 turns from lock to lock. So I put a 2-to-1 steering quickener in it, and of course it did help, but it's still almost 2 turns from lock to lock. So going into a corner hard, you don't want to have to be really turning on a steering wheel. So I think what I'd like to do is try to find an actual buggy rack that's made like a sand buggy, dune buggy, something. They make them that are a lot quicker ratio than anything for a car. It's going to take some serious reworking up there. I'll probably even have to take and widen the rack itself, but in doing that, I also want to basically redo all of the steering shaft up through here. When I did it the first time, I really kind of cobbled it together, not having the right U-joints and couplers and everything that I needed to be able to do it right, because that stuff is extremely expensive when you have to buy it all. So I did what I had, used what I had, and made it work, but it could be better. Another thing about the steering is the quick release here is wore out. If you saw my video of the first ride, you'll see how much the wheel actually moves going up and down the road, and all that is because of the quick release. It's not slop in my shaft, it's just this thing is old and wore out inside of here. That's wore out, so get that straightened up and fixed. Let's see. Tires, of course, it's got little tires on it. It's what I had when I built it, being that we were into ATV motocross. These are actually 22s. They're way bigger than what you'd use on a motocross bike, but the hubs, the wheels, everything I had was 400EX, so it kind of leaves me limited. I would like to change. I've got a little bit of room for a little bit bigger tire out back and really not much up front. Just kind of have to play with it and see what happens. It's not terrible now, but it could use ground clearance, which it's not made for the woods or the mud either. It's made for a short course track or a circle track or a motocross track, something you can get it out and run the guts out of it. What else? 2 Corbeau suspension seats eventually, I hope. Have all intentions on putting 2 in once we get the money to be able to afford them. I'm going to build, I mentioned in another video that I'm going to build an engine cover here, which that's hopefully coming next. I've got enough sheet metal left over to be able to do it. And the biggest thing about it, I mean, it'll cover up the mess back here, but I'm going to leave it high enough up here to where air will come in the front of it between this tube and here, and then force the hot air coming off of the motor down out the bottom and out the back of the vehicle. So hopefully while you're running, you won't feel the heat of the engine coming up onto the passengers. I redid the muffler and the exhaust system not too long ago and quieted it up tremendously, which is something that really needed to be done for riding around here. I got a bead roller finally here to be able to play with, but it's not electric, it's manual, so I really need 2 people to be able to run it. But we're going to put some beads down through here on the angles, maybe in the front, on the roof, I believe. We'll see what happens there. Front springs could be a little stiffer, brakes could be better. I mean, everything's things that I can tinker with a little bit once I start to get it on the road and actually put some good time in on it. I can go back and mess with and play with, but we'll just have to see what happens there. Since the weather's finally starting to break a little, I'm excited. I got a good camera here now, or better than what I've had. So as soon as it gets nice and the ground hardens up a little, I'm going to take you up to the track that I've been building and working on, which it's not much of a track yet, but at least it's a loop, some jumps, some good turns, plenty where I can cut through the woods and make a little bit to get this thing out and open it up a little bit. So appreciate you guys watching. Like I said, leave some comments, let me know what you think. I'd love to hear what you guys think, for sure. So there'll be more coming. I got a couple things in the works right now. Of course, the Buick is getting closer. We actually just built a 6-liter 6.0 for the Suburban that's behind me right now. We got a camper this past winter and are going to be pulling it with our Suburban. So we took the 5.3 out and built a healthy 6.0 to put in it, and it's actually built in the garage and getting ready to go in. And then next door at my uncle's, we're building a 434 small block Chevy engine for a drag car, for a Chevy Vega. We'll be building it all the way through, running it on the engine stand, and then I'm going to take the car and build a custom set of fender well headers for it. So hopefully you'll be seeing a bunch of it here soon. So now that I've got the camera and an editing app and actually have a few things coming here, hopefully I'll be putting some serious videos out here in the future. So stick with me, hit the subscribe button, let me know what you guys think. I appreciate your time. Have a good one.